breathing as something you manipulate. It's a piece of physiology. You're going to manipulate this physiology, and that's going to relax you. Or it's going to do this, it's going to do that, and you can talk about all kinds of things that we do with the breath, you see. Where I'm coming from is breathing as an actual behavior that you engage in. Just like my posture, like my gestures right now, how I'm moving my hand, how I'm moving my head, how I'm moving my eyes. All of this is learned behavior. I have all kinds of habits associated with my posture. Some of the habits are good, some are not so good, some get me into trouble, some give me pain, and so on and so on. Same thing with breathing. We learn breathing habits. And almost everything we learn this way is unconscious. So when you allow the breath, you're not only maybe doing something that's good and that's consistent with good respiration, remembering that breathing mechanics and actual respiration, which I'll talk about in a second, are a little bit are different from each other. But it is fundamental that you have learned these habits, and a lot of those habits can be dysfunctional, so that when you allow the breath, you may be allowing a dysfunctional habit. You see, and then the consequences of a dysfunctional habit then agree with some belief system you have about breathing, and more likely about your own breathing, and about symptoms you're experiencing, and so on. It confirms, cognitively speaking, and emotionally, that it confirms what's going on is that unconscious habit is triggered by your letting go. On the other hand, if there isn't a dysfunctional habit contributing to the situation, as you then let go and allow, then those various reflexes, which I haven't described, come into play to regulate. Specifically, they involve oxygen concentration in the plasma, carbon dioxide concentration in the plasma, and the pH of the plasma, as well as the pH and the carbon dioxide concentration in the cerebral spinal fluid, that then regulate those reflexes if there isn't a learned habit that is getting in the way. And those habits are controlled by specific triggers. So in one situation, when you allow, you may be permitting those reflexes to come into play. But in another situation, when you allow, you're allowing a dysfunctional behavior to come into play, and you get a very different consequence. So when we work with people, we're always looking at what the person has learned, what the body has learned, what they have learned together, how the belief systems may support or not support the breathing they're doing. We look at the history of their experience with breathing to be able to understand why the person is breathing a particular way right now.